Life can feel heavy. Some days you wake up and you're already tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because your heart has been carrying too much. And maybe you've been asking yourself quietly, why is it so hard to feel okay lately? But listen to me closely, happiness is not only for the people with easy lives. Happiness is also for the person who is struggling, who is healing, who is trying again. And sometimes, pushing yourself to be happy is not pretending everything is fine. It is choosing not to let the pain swallow you whole. Welcome to the Peace Whisper. And if you're here because you need comfort, strength, and a reminder that you can still find light, then you belong here. Please take a moment to subscribe, because this channel is your safe space for peace, healing, and faith-filled encouragement. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Being happy doesn't always come naturally. Sometimes happiness is an act of courage. It's not a mood, it's a decision. A decision to keep going even when life feels unfair. There are moments when life doesn't give you what you hoped for, when doors close, when people leave, when your plans fall apart. And in those moments, sadness feels automatic. But happiness becomes something you have to reach for. And that is not weakness, that is strength. Think about it like this: when your body is tired, you still push yourself to breathe, to stand, to move forward. In the same way, when your soul feels tired, you push yourself to find reasons to smile again, even small ones. Because happiness is not always a big celebration. Sometimes happiness is simply surviving with grace. I want you to imagine a woman sitting quietly in her room, feeling like her life is falling apart. She has responsibilities, worries, unanswered prayers, and tears she doesn't even talk about. But she gets up, she washes her face, she whispers a prayer, she makes herself tea, she opens the window, she lets the sunlight touch her skin. That is happiness, not because everything is perfect, but because she refused to give up on herself. Life will test you, but you are not meant to stay broken. You are meant to rise again and again. And pushing yourself to be happy does not mean ignoring your pain. It means honoring your pain, but not letting it become your identity. Some of you have been living in survival mode for so long. You forgot what joy feels like. You forgot that you deserve moments of peace. You forgot that laughter is allowed, even in hardship. Let me remind you today, you are allowed to feel happiness again, even if life is hard, even if you're still healing, even if you don't have all the answers. Because happiness is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of hope. And hope is something you build, one choice at a time. Sometimes the happiest people are not the ones with the easiest lives. They are the ones who decided that their hardship would not steal their light. So start small. Smile at something simple. Call someone who brings you peace. Step outside for fresh air. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Pray even if your voice shakes. This is how happiness returns gently. And I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever had a season where life was hard, but you still found a way to keep going? If yes, comment below, I chose joy anyway. Your words might help another woman feel less alone. And don't keep this message to yourself. Share this with someone who has been struggling silently. You never know who needs a reminder that happiness is still possible. Because the truth is, life will always have storms, but you were never created to drown in them. You were created to find your way back to peace. And one day, you will look back and realize the hardest moments did not break you. They built you, they softened you, they brought you closer to what truly matters. So push yourself gently, not into fake happiness, but into healing, into hope, into light. Stay with the Peace Whisper, because your story is not over, and joy is still waiting for you. Happiness as courage is one of the most misunderstood ideas in life. Many people think happiness is something that happens naturally, something that comes when everything is going well. They believe happiness belongs only to those who have easy lives, supportive people, financial comfort, and peaceful days. But the truth is, happiness is often the bravest choice a person can make, especially when life is hard. Real happiness is not the absence of pain. It is the decision to keep your heart open, even when it has every reason to close. There are seasons where life feels heavy from the moment you wake up. You may smile on the outside, but inside you are carrying stress, disappointment, loneliness, or fear. Some days you are not even sure what you are fighting for. You only know you must keep going. In those moments, happiness does not arrive like a gift. It becomes something you reach for, something you choose, something you build with effort and patience. That is why it takes courage. Courage is not only standing up in big moments. Courage is also found in the quiet daily battles. It is courage when you get out of bed, even though your heart feels tired. It is courage when you speak kindly to yourself, even though you feel broken. It is courage when you keep believing that life can still hold beauty, even when your current chapter feels dark. Happiness as courage means you stop waiting for life to be perfect before you allow yourself to breathe again. You stop telling yourself, I will be happy when everything is fixed, because life will always have something unfinished. There will always be challenges, delays, losses, and unexpected changes. If you postpone joy until the storm passes, you may spend your whole life waiting. Courage is choosing to find light even while the storm is still present. Think about the strongest women you know. Often, they are not strong because life was easy for them. They are strong because life was difficult, and they still found ways to smile, to love, to hope. They learned that happiness is not pretending everything is okay. Happiness is refusing to let sadness take over your entire soul. It is saying, yes, this hurts, but I will not let it destroy me. Sometimes courage looks like simple things: making yourself a warm drink, opening the window for fresh air, taking a walk even when your thoughts feel heavy, calling a friend instead of isolating, whispering a prayer even when you feel weak. These small choices are not insignificant. They are acts of bravery. They are reminders that you are still here, still trying, still choosing life. Happiness as courage also means giving yourself permission to feel joy without guilt. Some people feel like they do not deserve happiness because they are struggling. They think, how can I smile when my life is not where I want it to be? But joy is not a reward for perfection. Joy is nourishment for the soul. It gives you strength to continue. It helps you heal. It reminds you that hardship is not the whole story. Courage is when you choose gratitude in the middle of difficulty, not because you deny what is wrong, but because you refuse to ignore what is still right. The fact that you are breathing, the fact that you are learning, the fact that you are still capable of love, growth, and change. Happiness begins when you notice the small mercies that still exist around you. There is also courage in letting yourself start again. Maybe you have been through heartbreak. Maybe you have faced failure. Maybe you have been disappointed by people you trusted, and now you feel guarded. But happiness requires vulnerability. It requires you to believe again, to hope again, to open your heart again. That is not weakness. That is one of the bravest things you can do. So if life is hard right now, understand this. Choosing happiness does not mean you are ignoring reality. It means you are choosing resilience. It means you are choosing to rise. It means you are choosing to protect your inner peace in a world that often tries to steal it. Happiness is not a shallow emotion. It is a courageous act of survival, faith, and strength. Choosing hope daily is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make, especially when life feels uncertain. Hope is not something that automatically appears when everything is going well. Hope is often born in the hardest moments, when you are standing in the middle of difficulty and still deciding not to give up. It is easy to feel hopeful when life is comfortable, but true hope is revealed when life is heavy and you still choose to believe that something good can come again. Many people misunderstand hope. They think hope means you are sure everything will work out exactly the way you want. But hope is deeper than that. Hope is trusting that even if you cannot see the full picture, your life is still moving toward meaning. Hope is the quiet voice inside you that says, this is not the end. It is the gentle strength that reminds you that pain is temporary and that your story is still unfolding. Choosing hope daily means you do not allow one difficult season to define your entire life. Some days will be filled with challenges, disappointment, and delays. Some days you may feel like you are doing everything right, yet nothing is changing. That is when hopelessness tries to settle in. It whispers that things will never improve, that you are stuck, that you are alone. But hope is the decision to refuse that voice. Hope does not always feel loud or dramatic. Sometimes hope is simply getting through the day. Sometimes hope is taking one small step forward, even when you feel tired. Sometimes hope is saying, I will try again tomorrow. That is what makes hope so powerful. It does not demand perfection. It only asks you to keep moving. There is a special kind of strength in women who choose hope every day. They may be carrying responsibilities, emotional pain, unanswered prayers, or hidden struggles, but they still show up, they still love, they still care, they still believe that life can hold light again. That is not because they are unaware of hardship, but because they understand that despair is not an option. Choosing hope daily also means learning to focus on what you can control. You cannot control everything that happens in life. You cannot control other people's choices. You cannot control sudden losses or unexpected changes, but you can control how you respond. You can control whether you allow bitterness to grow or whether you allow hope to soften your heart. Hope is like a seed. If you water it daily with gratitude, prayer, patience, and trust, it begins to grow. But if you neglect it, fear and negativity take over. That is why daily hope matters. You cannot rely only on yesterday's strength. Each day requires a new choice. Sometimes choosing hope means reminding yourself of the times you survived before. There were moments you thought you would not make it through, yet here you are. You have already overcome so much. That is proof that you are stronger than you realize. Hope is built when you look back and see that hardship did not destroy you. It shaped you. Choosing hope daily also means allowing yourself to imagine a better future. Even if you cannot see how it will happen, you still make room in your heart for possibility. You still believe that healing can come, that joy can return, that peace can find you again. Hope is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting that the answers will come in time. Some days hope will feel easy, and some days it will feel like work. On the hard days, hope may look like a whispered prayer, a deep breath, or simply refusing to quit. It may look like reaching out for support instead of isolating. It may look like choosing kindness over anger, patience over panic, faith over fear. Because hope is not a one-time decision. It is a daily choice, a daily act of courage, a daily reminder that even in the darkest moments, light is still possible, and your heart is still capable of rising again. Healing through hardship is one of the most profound truths of life. Many people assume that hardship only breaks you, only takes from you, only leaves scars. But hardship can also shape you, strengthen you, and awaken parts of your soul that you never knew existed. Healing does not always come after the storm ends. Sometimes healing begins right in the middle of the storm, when you decide that you will not let the pain define you. Hardship is an unavoidable part of being human. Every person at some point faces loss, disappointment, loneliness, or struggle. The difference is not where the hardship comes, but what you do when it arrives. Some people allow hardship to harden their hearts, to make them bitter, to close them off from hope. But others allow hardship to soften them, to teach them, to lead them toward growth. Healing happens when you choose the second path. Healing through hardship means understanding that pain is not pointless. Even though it feels unfair, even though it feels heavy, pain often carries lessons. It reveals what truly matters. It shows you your strength. It teaches you patience. It reminds you that you cannot control everything, but you can control how you respond. Hardship has a way of stripping away what is unnecessary and bringing you closer to what is real. Sometimes healing begins when you stop resisting the reality of what you are going through. Many people spend so much time asking, "Why is this happening?" or "Why me?" that they become stuck in frustration. Healing starts when you shift the question to, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I grow through this?" This does not mean you are grateful for the pain, but it means you are refusing to let the pain be wasted. Healing through hardship also requires gentleness with yourself. When life is hard, people often blame themselves for feeling weak. They think they should be stronger, they should move on faster, they should not feel so emotional. But healing is not rushed. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you will feel better, and some days you will feel the weight again. That is normal. That is part of the process. There is courage in allowing yourself to feel. Some people try to heal by ignoring their emotions, by pretending they are fine, by staying busy so they do not have to face what hurts. But true healing comes when you acknowledge the pain, when you sit with it, when you allow yourself to cry, to reflect, to release. Suppressed pain does not disappear, it waits. Healing happens when you face it with honesty. Hardship also teaches you resilience. It shows you that you can survive what you once thought would break you. It reminds you that you have carried burdens before and still made it through. When you look back, you realize that the hardest seasons often became the turning points in your life. They were the moments that pushed you to change, to grow, to seek deeper meaning. Healing through hardship means learning to find peace, even when everything is not perfect. Many people believe peace comes only when life is calm, when problems are solved, when everything is in order. But real peace is deeper. Peace is the ability to breathe even when answers are not clear. Peace is trusting that you are being guided, even through uncertainty. Sometimes hardship becomes the reason you discover your faith more deeply. When life is easy, it is simple to feel grateful. But when life is painful, faith becomes a lifeline. In hardship, you learn to rely on something greater than yourself. You learn to pray differently, to hope differently, to surrender what you cannot control. Healing is not only emotional, it is spiritual. Hardship can also change the way you see others. When you suffer, you become more compassionate. You notice the silent struggles in people around you. You become kinder, more understanding, less quick to judge. Healing through hardship means your pain becomes a bridge, not a barrier. It connects you to humanity. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: hardship does not last forever. Even if it feels endless right now, seasons change. Healing comes slowly, quietly, like dawn after a long night. One day you realize you are smiling again. One day you realize your heart feels lighter. One day you realize you have grown into someone stronger, softer, wiser. Finding small joy in struggles is one of the most life-changing skills a person can develop. When life feels overwhelming, many people think joy must disappear until everything gets better. They believe happiness is only possible when problems are solved, when pain is gone, when life finally becomes easy. But small joy is not something you wait for at the end of hardship. Small joy is something you discover inside hardship, and it becomes a source of strength that carries you forward. Struggles have a way of narrowing your vision. When you are stressed, heartbroken, or exhausted, it feels like all you can see is what is wrong. Your mind becomes focused on the weight you are carrying, the uncertainty ahead, the disappointment behind you. In those moments, joy can feel distant, almost impossible. But small joy is not about ignoring your struggles. It is about refusing to let your struggles consume every part of your life. Small joy is the gentle reminder that even in difficult seasons, life still holds moments of light. It may not be the kind of joy that comes with celebration, but it is the kind of joy that comes with comfort. It is the quiet peace of knowing you are still here, still breathing, still capable of hope. Sometimes small joy is found in the simplest things: the warmth of sunlight on your face when you step outside, the taste of your favorite tea, the sound of a loved one's voice, a kind message from a friend, a moment of laughter that surprises you. These moments may seem small, but they matter deeply because they remind your heart that life is not only pain. Finding small joy in struggles also teaches you gratitude. Gratitude does not mean you are thankful for hardship. It means you are aware that even in hardship, there are still blessings around you. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. It softens the heaviness. It creates space in your heart for peace. Many women, especially, carry so much silently: responsibilities, emotional burdens, worries about family, fear about the future. And in the middle of all of that, small joy becomes an act of self-care. It becomes a way of telling yourself, I deserve moments of peace, even now. It is not selfish, it is necessary. Small joy is also a form of resilience. When life is hard, despair tries to convince you that nothing good remains. But every time you find a small moment of joy, you prove despair wrong. You remind yourself that hardship is not the whole story, that your life still has beauty in it, even if it is quiet right now. Sometimes small joy is found in connection, sitting with someone who understands you, sharing your feelings instead of holding them inside, hearing someone say, you are not alone. These moments bring healing because struggle feels heavier in isolation, but lighter in companionship. Small joy can also come through acts of kindness. When you are struggling, doing something kind for someone else may seem difficult, but it often brings unexpected comfort. A simple smile, a supportive word, a thoughtful gesture. Kindness creates warmth, and warmth creates joy. Another powerful source of small joy is giving yourself permission to rest. Many people feel guilty for resting when life is hard, as if they must constantly push through. But rest is not weakness. Rest is renewal. Sometimes joy is found in slowing down, breathing deeply, and allowing yourself to be human. Small joy does not erase pain, but it makes pain more bearable. It is like finding little candles in a dark room. One candle does not remove the darkness completely, but it changes the atmosphere. It reminds you that darkness is not absolute. And over time, these small joys begin to add up. They become strength, they become hope, they become reminders that you are still alive inside, even if you have been struggling. So if life feels heavy right now, do not underestimate the power of small joy. Look for it intentionally. Welcome it when it comes. Hold on to it gently. Because sometimes the smallest joys are the very things that keep your heart from giving up. Faith and inner peace are among the greatest gifts a person can hold on to, especially when life feels difficult. Many people search for peace in external things. They believe peace will come when problems are solved, when life becomes stable, when everything finally makes sense. But inner peace is not something that depends on perfect circumstances. Inner peace is something that grows inside you when you choose faith over fear, trust over panic, and hope over despair. Faith does not mean your life will always be easy. Faith means you are not walking through hardship alone. It means that even when you cannot see the full picture, you believe there is wisdom in what is unfolding. Faith is the anchor of the heart. When life feels like a storm, faith keeps you from drifting into hopelessness. Inner peace is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of calm within struggle. It is the ability to breathe even when answers are unclear. It is the strength to keep going without being consumed by anxiety. Peace is not found in controlling everything. Peace is found in surrendering what you cannot control and trusting that you are being guided. Many women carry silent battles, worries about family, pressure about the future, pain from the past, and responsibilities that never seem to end. And sometimes the world expects you to keep smiling, to keep functioning, even when you feel overwhelmed. This is why faith is so important. Faith becomes the place where you can release what you cannot carry alone. Faith reminds you that hardship is not permanent. It reminds you that every season changes. It reminds you that what feels heavy now will not last forever. Faith gives meaning to waiting, purpose to pain, and hope to uncertainty. Inner peace begins when you stop fighting reality and start accepting the moment you are in. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means acknowledging what is, without letting it destroy your heart. Peace grows when you stop asking, "Why is this happening?" and begin asking, "How can I grow through this?" Peace comes when you trust that even in difficulty, you are being shaped, strengthened, and prepared. One of the most beautiful parts of faith is that it gives you comfort in the unseen. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but faith reminds you that tomorrow is already known by the one who created you. That realization softens fear. It quiets the mind. It allows you to rest inside trust. Inner peace also requires daily effort. Peace is not something you find once and keep forever without struggle. Peace is something you nurture through prayer, reflection, gratitude, and patience. Just as the body needs daily nourishment, the soul needs daily connection. Sometimes peace comes from remembering how far you have already come. There were moments you thought you would not survive, yet you did. There were nights you cried, yet you still woke up. There were struggles that felt unbearable, yet you carried them. This is proof that you are stronger than you think, and that faith has been holding you all along. Faith and inner peace also protect you from bitterness. When life is hard, bitterness can easily grow. You may feel wrong, disappointed, or hurt, but faith helps you release resentment. Peace comes when you choose forgiveness, not because people deserve it, but because your heart deserves freedom. Another key to inner peace is focusing on what truly matters. The world pulls you in many directions, filling your mind with noise, comparison, and endless worry. Faith brings you back to simplicity. It reminds you that your worth is not in achievements, but in your soul. It reminds you that life is more than stress, and that your heart was created for something deeper. Inner peace does not mean you never feel sadness. It means sadness does not rule you. It means you can feel pain while still holding hope. It means you can face hardship while still trusting that goodness will return. So if life feels heavy right now, let faith be your refuge. Let peace be your goal, not through controlling life, but through trusting the one who holds life. Because when faith lives in your heart, peace is never far behind.